Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be doing a build on Mag. So this is my unique build that I like using, and probably other people probably use similar builds to it, but this is my unique build. If you've seen any of my other builds for Warframe, it's basically a beginner guide for any newer players. I'm going to explain the mods, exactly what I'm doing, and how everything's synergized together, and also other suggestive mods that you can run with Mag. Other than that, let's go right into it. So this is Mag Prime that I'm using, and we're just going to go over here. So this is basically my EMP Mag build. We're going to go to the next page right here. We're going to clear this one out. Actually, we're going to go to the first one and clear this one out, just so that way you can see exactly what my stats are. Alright, so Mag's base stats is 125 armor, 263 energy, 300 health, 450 shields. The sprint speed is really good. It's at 1.00. Duration and everything is sitting at a solid 100. So as you know before, if you've seen my Necros build and my Wisp build, basically Mag suffers the same thing as Necros. Very squishy. So once you get rid of the shields, Mag is very easily to kill. So our build is basically to stop the enemies from shooting. So I'm going to explain how everything works, the exact arcanes I'm using and everything like that allow Mag to survive in in-game content. And what I mean by in-game content, I'm not talking about like raids or anything like that. I'm talking about like higher level missions. So this is basically the build. So I use Steel Charge, which increases your melee damage by 60%. I mostly run melees a lot. The reason why is because we're going to be playing really close to our enemies. And there's a couple of mods in here that allow us to get close to our enemies without them really doing much to us. This build is also mainly for any enemy that shoots, or use robotics. So if you're going against infested, this will not work for the infested. The reason why, the infested are not mechanics or robots or anything like that. They are like our flesh enemies. So they're like kind of like the Flood if you played Halo. So other than that, here we go. So I don't have, as you can notice, I have a couple of my Prime mods not fully leveled out, and the same thing with Adaptation, because I really don't need it. And Narrow Minded is the same way. So we're running Prime Continuity. Continuity is basically giving us 40% of ability duration. What you can see is that we brought our duration all the way up to 221. I'm using I'm using Stretch and Auger Reach. That also helps bring our range all the way up to 211. I'm using basically Overextended. This also brings up our range by 90%, but lowers our strength. And with this build, you do not need strength whatsoever. Strength is not needed whatsoever for this build. Alrighty. We're using Prime Flow. This increases our energy by 175, which I'm probably going to end up not re-rolling, but leveling this up more, like leveling up my frame, resetting and leveling up again. But this is just the basic build of Mag. Okay, so it basically brings up our energy all the way up to 595, so that way we have a lot of energy, so we can use our abilities and cast without issues, and we'll still have enough energy to do everything. Also, as you can see, our efficiency is just sitting at 100. We're not raising it, we're not lowering it, it's just sitting at base 100. Alright, now we're getting to our Augment Mod, our Polarized Mod. So, before I bring up that Polarized Mod, I'm just going to go over the Mag's abilities, which I'm probably going to end up changing out, like Pull and put something else here. That way it allows Mag to synergize a little bit more. But, other than that, we're using a Pull. We pull, basically it yanks enemies, and if you have the augment for it, it basically brings items to you, so you can just pull enemies towards you. Magnetize, basically you can hold it and create a magnet field that you can literally walk around with, and you can bounce back at, you can throw at enemies. It basically catches all bullets and all those attacks and stuff like that, and then it deals the damage back to the enemies. And then what you can also do is tap the Magnet Force. And when you tap the Magnet Force, as the picture is showing, it will surround the enemy in a bubble that when they shoot, their bullets bounce off the bubble and damages them. And then you can also shoot into the bubble, and the bubble is basically absorbing your bullets as well, doing double the damage on the enemies. This polarized. I was gonna say counter pulse. Polarized. So basically, you put out an energy pulse, and what it does, it basically erupts like the enemy shields, armors, and creates shards on the ground, which you can use with magnetize. So when you do that, it allows you to break like any energy shields or any armor, and it basically drops pieces of it on the ground. So then you can use magnetize, and magnetize also picks it up as well, and that's also the items that are floating in the magnetized bubble. The final, which is Mag's like the heavy hit blow on Mag, the heavy hit would be crush. Basically, it grabs enemies in the air and basically crushes them. So you can do damage with this. I don't use it often, only once in a while I do it. And basically just it holds the enemies in place or finish off any weakened enemies by your allies while you're playing. And so going back to the mod here, counterpulse. So this is an augment mod for polarize. So when you use this, it basically jams enemies' weapons and robotics for 4 seconds. So, and it works very well because we have a good amount of duration and range. Counterpulse mainly works off of the duration. So the bigger the duration, the further it travels. I repeat, the more duration you have for it, the further it travels. So as you can see, the counterpulse, the duration of it, instead of being 4 seconds, is at 8 because of our duration that we added. And then if you can see, the duration for the polarize itself is at 11.05 seconds. So basically, it's just traveling into a big range of area. So as enemies spawn in small areas, like if you're doing a defense mission or you're doing a defense mission, disruption, it stops the enemies right in their track. They all stop shooting. So it works very well. The only enemies you have to watch out for would be like the nullifiers for the corpus. And you'll know them. They're the guys that usually run up with the yellow bubbles. So you'll know them when you see them. We're using adaptation. So when you're damaged, basically you get +9 resistance to that damage type, and it lasts for 18 seconds and it can stack up to 90%. So as long as you're running around, you're basically good. We're using endurance drift. Basically, it gives us velocity for parkouring, like our jumping around and jumping off walls, but it also gives us +15 in max energy. So it just adds on a little tiny bit more energy onto our energy pool that we have. So that's basically it. So the weapons we're using my Kuva Tsar here. We're using my Nucor, my Kuva Nucor. And for the melee, this is by far my favorite weapon here. My twin Kroger, or Crow, what I like to call it. So this is actually really, really good. So this is a very, very good melee weapon, as you can see. Have the basic mods that you want to put on it. High slash, viral slash that I normally run. And that's basically it. So now we're going to go take it into a mission. Come on, Mac, let's go. We're going to go into a basic mission, or actually what we can do is go here. And we're going to quickly do one defense mission. So how are you guys liking this night watch that's going on here? There's a lot of good loot in it, a lot of good mods in it. I've been grinding it, trying to get up to the level to get the Tiburon mod that's in there. That is really good. Oh yeah, we're gonna just use this one. So we're finding a squad real quick. That was weird. That was really weird. That's like the second time it's done that to me today. It put me with a group, and the person is just sitting there. Let's just click another mod. Alright, here we go. Now we're loading into the mission. Yeah, I've been enjoying Warframe so much lately. I've been getting back into it and enjoying everything. I'm just going to drop one of these little energy pods here. I'm going to let them start it. This looks like the tile set where the one control point is in the middle of the map.
You found a fissure. Look out for reactant.
One more pulse and that should be it. Alright. And as you're gonna see, I don't use a lot of energy. So as you can see, when I start actually pulsing enemies and things like this helps survivability for
the enemies are dropping reactant.
And for
the reactant is working on your relic. Find more.
As you can see, look, these guys are not even shooting, they're just standing there. And then what you also do, you can do one of these, or you can just bubble them and leave them right there. Alright? And there you go. And this basically is to lock down the enemies. So like, we have a Korra in here, but Korra won't have to really worry about much, or anybody have to worry about much, because the enemies are locked in one particular spot, or they're just standing there trying to reload their weapons. Because these enemies, they don't move, especially like the gun enemies, they don't move if their guns are jammed. They literally stop and start trying to reload their gun. And it lasts about 8 seconds. So you basically do that and you're locking them in one spot. And this works well when you're doing like the high-end stuff. Like I took this in not a sortie, but I took this in an arbitration earlier, and like the enemies did not move. They stayed exactly where I wanted them to be. And I was running this with a what's it on there? Speed Nova. And we were just doing it with a Speed Nova to get the waves done fast. And the Speed Nova was just speeding the enemies up. The moment they got close enough, they was literally just standing there and holding their guns out, trying to get their guns unjammed. And then occasionally, if you want to throw a crush in there, just slightly either kill the enemies or just drop them down on the ground and they will still be stunned. So basically, this is an ad lock. It locks the ads exactly where you want them to be, so they won't move. And granted, yeah, these enemies ain't that high, but they're high enough that this will work.
The relic has been cracked open. Finish your mission to find out what's inside.
For a second, I thought that was what is he doing down here? Counterpulse again. And as you can see little green lights in the ground. So what I can do is do this. And as you see, they got picked up. Right? Like the saw in there. And they're getting hit by those little pellets from my gun. I'm trying to pulse up the enemy so that way they can't move. And as you can see, look how far it's gone because of my duration. It went all the way back here. And that's pretty far. That gotta be like 15, maybe 20 meters away from the zone. Actually, it says right there, 65 meters away. So that is actually pretty far. That is pretty far for the counterpulse to travel. For a decent sized map of this. And as you can see, I'm going to go back here again. About 67, 66 meters away. And as you saw, the enemies over here got hit by it, so they're just standing there. Oh, they're moving. Again. All you're doing is basically EMPing. This works very well when it comes down to corpus. Because they have a lot of robotics when it comes down to corpus, especially like they got those little mech, chicken looking guys. Those guys, when they start stacking up, they are a pain in the butt to deal with. And then they also have the bursas, if I'm saying it right. They're basically kind of like the chicken guys, but they have a little shovel thing on the front. And those guys sometimes can be very, very tanky. especially if you get like if you go on a sortie and you get some with like augmented shields, they are a pain to deal with on a defense mission. And what this does is basically help you lock your enemies in place, so that way anybody that's using like a higher damaging frame or like better weapons that is suited for high damage, you can literally kill them. You can have them kill them, or you kill them if you have a high damage weapon, like me with Kuva. This Kuva's on. So it just locks them in place, so that way I can kill them easier without them roaming or damaging them. And as you can see, look. You will only see the melee guys are running. The guys with the weapons, they are just staying in one spot and they're not moving from that location. Which is this is an amazing augment. Mag is by far one of my favorite things. So when I found out about this, I think like 2 years ago, when I first started, actually 3 or 4 years ago, when I actually started getting into Warframe, when I got back, and I found out about this mod, I ran and got this mod. I was like, oh, I can EMP? That's amazing. As you can see, there's always going to be like these little fragments on the ground. These are basically fragments of armor. Since we're fighting the Grenadier, this is fragments of armor. Corpus will always be shields. And that guy's dead. Alright, let's see what we got out of this mod.
Extraction is ready. Unless you can handle more of the enemy.
Okay. We can grab this or grab that. I already have a nice, so we're gonna grab the Fang Prime Blade. I actually want to build that. Alright, extract. The goal is
very impressive, Tenno. You held them all back. Time to get out of here.
But it's more easy and digestible for the casual, because I've been there at one point in time when it came to Warframe. I watched so many video guides, but they never fully explained it, and I couldn't understand what they were talking about. So I want to make content where it's easier for you to understand what's going on. Oh,
I'm going to offer you something special.
That.
Just.
Alright, and that's it. So you guys have yourselves an awesome time. You guys keep your head up. And I'll catch you on the next one, Tenno. Peace.